We are live. Good to see you today, my EOS friends. It's a pleasure to be here with Eli. Eli is one of the winners from the hackathon, which is exciting. So we're going to talk about his project. So Eli, let's start off. Just introduce yourself.
My name is Eli. I'm the founder of All EBT.
Yeah. Well, pleasure to have you on the show, man. I would love to start with what you think is most exciting going on in EOS right now.
Yeah, we're really excited. We're pumped up here because we're actually located in Puerto Rico. So I moved down here originally from LA. I moved down here about 3-4 months ago, and the community is really awesome. A lot of the people are on our team. They're part of the EOS community, and you know, Puerto Rico is a really interesting place just for a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just telling you, unfortunately, I missed a recent trip to Puerto Rico because of some other EOS stuff we were building, but I wanted to go to Restart Week, man. What was that? Did you end up going to that, and what was it like?
Totally. So it was pretty amazing. This time around, it was in Ponce, and a lot of the stuff was really, it was really planned out, and it was really going outside of the island, not just in the Area Metro, the main capital, but it was looking outside of the island, inside of the island, but in more of the remote parts of the island.
Okay, so like, yeah, the all the outskirts and everything. What are some examples of what's going on down there? I'm not real familiar. I know that, are they building EOS projects? Are they building community projects, or what's actually going on?
I think Puerto Rico is a very interesting place because it's I grew up in LA, so I think that's really where the story starts for me. It starts in LA, and I grew up speaking Spanish. I grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood, and a lot of the struggles that we have here in LA, just like in low income neighborhoods or communities of color, also that happens in Puerto Rico, where there's a lot of it's really sad to say, but there's a lot of like racial segregation, and there's a lot of immigration. So there's people from the Dominican Republic that are there. There's people from other islands that come there. And, my going into that island, you kind of come with some presupposed ideas. But then when you get there, you see that, the communities are different from what the media tells you. It's because we get a lot of misinformation from the media, and it's just what's going on over there.
Yeah, well, what's it like? What are the people like? Like, is it a very, and how do they feel about people coming in?
I got a funny story. So as soon as I landed in the airport, I had no idea where I was going to go. I was like, all right, I'm in Puerto Rico now. I got a kind of a vision of where we want to go with the company and what we want to build. And as soon as I got out of the airport, you can't get an Uber. You can't catch an Uber, right?
Okay.
So I had to get a ride with a taxi guy. So he picks me up, and he's a really nice Dominican guy. And I start talking to him, and we start talking in Spanish. And I said, hey, what's going on? I just got here. And he's like, cool, awesome. And I said, hey, where should I stay? I'm looking for a place. And he said, you know what? This is random, but my mom's house is just vacant right now. She moved to Florida. Come, you can stay over there. And I was like, what? So sure enough, day one, I went to this place called Barrio Obrero, and it's kind of close to Santurce. And I just got all of a sudden into this community, and they took me to a local restaurant. And this local restaurant, it was basically somebody's backyard that they had converted. Yeah, they had converted this backyard into a full-on table restaurant, home-cooked meals, and there you go. That was my first day in Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. I love that. That makes me want to come visit you in Puerto Rico ASAP.
It's always open for anybody. We have a humble house there, and everybody's really welcoming. Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's cool to hear it's such a welcoming culture down there. And that's how I kind of pictured it, honestly. So that's fantastic. So what was Restart Week as far as EOS goes? Kind of what was their focus, and yeah.
I think I can't really talk to I definitely don't want to talk to what the Restart project was going for and in their direction, but I know from my perspective, Restart was about connecting communities that aren't traditionally a part of this technology sector to technology, right? So these are people that have mobile devices, that have internet access, and these are our neighbors, our friends, our families, and we basically want to use technology to benefit them in practical ways, right? So that's what Restart was about for me, and it was really about like building community with local people, not just the people that are in the capital of San Juan that are running the country, but actually like people that are in the countryside, the farmers, the agriculture, the people that are just working every day, you know, and and people that are struggling because it's a struggle. It's a struggle. You know, they had a big disaster, and I think I didn't realize how big of a disaster it was until I got there, because we're in LA or New York or San Francisco, and you're like, oh yeah, hurricanes. I don't get it. No, but these people, they had no water, they had no lights. It was like messed up. And one of the big problems too, like even if they would go to the supermarket and they would, you know, if somebody had like, you know, thousands of dollars on their credit card or debit card, they couldn't buy food because the machine wouldn't take their credit card transaction.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really like shaking for everybody there.
Yeah, that's one of the kind of the crazy things about having. I mean, I usually use a credit card. I kind of don't use cash that often.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
But you're fully reliant on there being some sort of power. You know.
Exactly. You don't think about this, but yeah, if there's no power, you can't swipe your credit card.
Yeah, all those ones and zeros on a database somewhere don't mean much if you you don't have that back infrastructure. Wow, interesting. So are you going to be living down there now? Or are you kind of transitioning to stay in Puerto Rico? Is that the plan?
No, we're here for good. We're building out a team, and we have a bunch of local developers. We have local marketing guys. Everybody's all local here, so we're building out with the team on the ground here, and yeah, we're happy to be here.
And what part of Puerto Rico is you and your team located in?
Yeah, so we have it's the hacker house or the all EBT house. It's in El Barrio Obrero, in el área metro, in el área de Santurce.
Okay, and that would be, is that southern, northern, eastern?
Oh, yeah. So you get in the air, you land in the airport, and you pass the beaches, and you're on the way into the middle of the city, and then you pass all the fancy hotels, and then you go to this like kind of rough neighborhood on the outskirts, and that's where we're at.
Cool, man. Well, good. I look forward to hearing what you guys are building out there and what's going on. So, so for people who don't know, your team won the Social Impact Award at the Hackathon. You're one of the winners of the Hackathon, and it was for all EBT. What is that? Like, what's your EOS project that you're working on?
Yeah, so we're really excited because they're gonna send us to Africa.
Yeah.
Really, so this is the ramp up to South Africa, to Cape Town, on a journey that probably is going to change our lives. So, and
for anyone who doesn't know, block.one does it so proper. Like if they're sending you guys to Africa, like they're sending you guys to Africa. That's, you know, plane flights, places to stay, food to eat. Like block.one does it very beautifully as far as their hackathons go. I was so surprised with San Francisco. It was pretty stunning. So yeah, congratulations. What do you expect? What do you expect out of Africa?
Yeah, we're super pumped up here. So I fly out tomorrow, Thursday.
Oh wow.
And we got to lay over in Dubai, and the whole team's going. And we're really excited about the incubation week that they put together. So there's a lot of details in the incubation week. There's sessions all morning long, and then there's team building sessions. And then in the afternoon, we're actually going to go out into the community and really get a feel of what's going on over there. So to answer your first question, the project that we're doing is the company that we're working on. It's called All EBT, and it's basically you can say it's like the Cash App for food stamps, or a smart wallet for food stamps. One of the problems here in the U.S. is that people that are on food stamps, they can't shop online. So there's 22% of the U.S. population on food stamps.
Yeah.
A lot of people. And these people are just like me and you. They all have phones. They all have internet. They all check Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. But they get about $400 to $600 a month on food stamps, but their food stamp card doesn't work online. So they can't shop anywhere online, can't buy anything online. Basically, they're one of the most important things for anybody is food. And they can't make use of technology to get access to healthy food and to all these other benefits that we get.
You know, kind of a really valid point there in the angle, because I'm trying to think of, okay, why would it be important for people to be able to shop online as opposed to just go to the grocery store? But, you know, unfortunately, what sucks is that like a lot of the low income areas where people are on food stamps, they don't have like access to quality food. You know, there's like 7-Elevens and they're having to shop at like liquor stores and so where are you going to get organic vegetables? You're just not, unless you're going to drive a half hour or something, you know? And so that's a key where the ability to shop online is like the ability to eat healthy, you know, which is a huge privilege.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous because you just said it perfectly. Like sometimes you're not in the best area to order food, or what if you're disabled, or what if you have young children, or what if, you know, there's all these other reasons why like transportation is a hard thing. And why shouldn't technology like help people just get healthy food on the table? And then why is this important for like, why is this like really important? Because some people, it just goes over their head. Like, all right, those people are on food stamps, I'm not. So this goes over my head. The reason why this is important is because just like Bitcoin or Litecoin or any other type of cryptocurrency, not any, but we're trying to create some type of sound money, right? And sound money is like one of these big pillars, right? And guess what's another big pillar? Food is a big pillar. And I think that's why it's really a universal thing that's important for the whole planet.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any kind of angles that we're missing of why it's so important? I mean, those are all pretty huge angles. Is there anything else that we're kind of overlooking there as far as the importance of this?
I think food is an important thing for pretty much the whole planet. So that's the big angle. So
for sure.
I think the reason why it was important to me, I think maybe that's good for this story. You know, I grew up on food stamps. I grew up in LA, and I saw people struggling, whether it was my family or my aunts. And then when I grew up, I got to work, you know, at some really cool Silicon Valley startups. Eventually got to Google, eventually got to Amazon. And what I noticed is that all the technology we were building at those big companies, whether it was computer vision, speech recognition, artificial intelligence, all those solutions didn't have like an impact on my community. And that's why it was really important to me, because I said, you know what, we need to build something for the people that are right here in my community. And this was one of the problems that I saw on a daily basis. And that's why it was important to me.
Yeah, and you know, and it's so easy to overlook. I mean, especially somewhere like the Silicon Valley, where everyone gets so caught up and they're kind of in their own bubble of pushing this tech forward, and everyone around them is doing fine, and that you know, it's hard for them to pop out of that bubble and realize that there's social impact that needs to be made as well. I mean, that's why you guys won the Social Impact Award, because it's such a you know, such a pressing need. So that congratulations again to you guys. That was cool. That was cool.
We're excited about where this is going to go. Yeah.
So how far along are you, or what can you tell us about the kind of the tech aspect, or your ideas on how it's going to work on the blockchain, or you know, the mechanics of it?
Well,
or basically, what's the idea? Like, how's it going to work?
Yeah. So the first iteration of the product was basically just solving the problem for transacting online. So you have a paper coupon, right? And this paper coupon can't get spent online. So as the first iteration of the product, we basically converted the paper food stamp coupon and into a virtual card, right? So once the user had the virtual card, they can start making transactions online. That was the first iteration. Now, moving into blockchain, crypto, EOS, we basically saw that our users, they were able to leapfrog technology, right? So they were able to really quickly jump into whether it was a chat environment, whether it was downloading some type of apps. They were willing to do like anything possible to like make their food stamps work online. And we said, these users are actually really, really smart. So why not try to figure out an easy way to bring them into the crypto community? And so we're working on some products right now where maybe as a user, you don't have a big budget to invest into crypto, but maybe you can invest a couple pennies off of your next purchase. You know, maybe there's some type of auto investing platform that we can build. Or maybe there's a way just to create some type of a savings account for these users. Or maybe there's just a way to clarify, so for the food stamps, there's actually a couple different types of food stamps. One of them is basically a card, EBT card, and the other one's a paper coupon. And then on those different formats, you actually get a cash portion. So you get about $200 in cash. And the cash doesn't have the same restrictions like the paper coupons. So obviously with the paper, there's no alcohol, no tobacco. But with the cash, if you wanted to like invest that money or do some other types of transaction with it or help somebody else with it, it's very hard to do because it's stuck on this card that really doesn't interact with anybody else besides yourself. And we think that there's a way to using EOS to align all these different stakeholders. So we have the users that are on food stamps. We have the merchants that want to accept food stamps digitally. And then we have the government and the local governments that basically, they want to help their communities. They're getting tied up with bureaucracy.
Yeah. So is one of the ideas to take the cash portion of the food stamps and let people easily buy EOS with it? Is that kind of one of the integrations you're talking about there?
Yeah, we're thinking about that. We're gonna basically roll that out and see where the users go with it. And as always, we want to build something that's useful for them.
Yeah.
So they might. So it's very. We have to build stuff that's useful for the user, right? So we want to confirm that my hypothesis that EOS is ridiculously useful for the customer, right? So that's what we're going to do.
Okay. And on the first use case, as far as like getting these paper food stamps and making them usable online, does that take the like the okay from the government, or does that take like the government doing something to make that happen, or is it a workaround? I don't have a real clear picture of that.
Yeah. It's a great question. So what we did was something pretty radical. We said, all right, in order to get all the permits and the licenses, let's just open up a little store. So we're going to actually open up a small store in the middle of East LA and Puerto Rico that'll authorize us to start doing these EBT food stamp transactions. So that's the initial step. In terms of the government, we're trying to work at a local level with the government of Puerto Rico, the government of Los Angeles, and really address their local problems and get those, because when people talk about food stamps, it always becomes very political really quick. And regardless of the politics of who deserves what or who doesn't deserve what, we're trying to figure out a solution to actually empower these people in the community.
Yeah, and it's a cool what I like about it is it kind of gives this ability for people to use their food stamps for something almost entrepreneurial, if you will, like the ability to take it upon yourself, go out and learn about the blockchain and EOS, and possibly even invest some of that in a little bit of EOS, and then start kind of being an early adopter of the blockchain. And you know, that's a beautiful thing. That's a, I like opportunity, dude. You know,
and it's pretty radical because there's about 54 million people in America on food stamps. So that's like a huge number of people. And all these people are ready to be like, use any financial tool that they can to eat healthier, to invest more wisely, to do all these like creative things.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a common misunderstanding. Like the gut reaction for some people is like, oh, food stamps, they must be lazy or something. But that's not, you know, that's not necessarily the case. Like there's not that correlation is not really there. There's, you know,
it's actually not. Yeah. 7% of the veteran population is on food stamps.
Exactly. And it's like, it's the same, you know, just like people who aren't on food stamps, it's probably the same proportion of like, you know, lazy people and not lazy people, or people wanting to learn and people not. And the difference is that is the opportunity. So it's like being able to give this huge section of the population the opportunity, and unlocking all that talent is so cool. You know, it's such a cool idea. So
awesome.
Yeah. What else? What's kind of on the roadmap? Let's look like further down the road. Do you guys have kind of a long-term goal? Where would you like seeing it go?
Yep. So the pilot is Los Angeles and Puerto Rico. Really, with the feedback that we're getting from EOS, is how do we take this global, and how do we address issues across the planet, right? So we're going to look at that in Africa and really create a strategy on figuring out, all right, because food is a problem, not just for LA and Puerto Rico, but around the planet. And we think that like this is a good entry point for a lot of other positive things that, you know, cryptocurrencies can do around the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea of taking it global is like a whole different, you know, that's a whole different aspect. And it brings the question, like, why even interact with the standard food stamp system in the US at all? Why not start a new social system on EOS itself? And like, I mean, are you familiar with URI, Dan's universal resource income idea, or universal resource inheritance, which is, look, before you have too many judgments on this, listeners, look into the difference between URI and universal basic income. They're not the same thing. There's a huge philosophical difference, and it's nuanced, but like, don't just write it off because you don't like UBI. It's a different idea. Universal resource inheritance. But anyway, is that like maybe a long-term plan? I mean, has anyone at block.one kind of said, oh, this is maybe an angle for URI to be implemented?
I think everybody that is looked at the problem kind of sees the magnitude of it, and just I guess the alignment between what we want to do with EOS and the problems that we're having on the ground in certain places. So yeah, I think we definitely, we don't fully understand, you know, there's a lot of I guess I really don't like the whole universal basic income and other conversations, just because of the fact that things get really political really quickly. Mm-hmm. So we always try to look at the problem from the perspective of, we have a technology in our hands and we have a problem and we want to help the user solve that problem, right? So we're sticking to that, right, for the moment being. But with that said, I think you know, if you really take a look at, okay, why was this food stamp program created in the beginning? It was created because they wanted to make sure that somebody was able to actually get a piece of bread or a piece of fruit and eat it. And they gave them a voucher that would give them the ability to go make that purchase, right? So if you really want to look crazy way out there. Take a look like 30, 50 years from now. How could we build a system where maybe it sounds kind of weird, but like the food that we eat would actually be registered to like, hey, it's getting consumed by a human at this point, at this place. It might sound weird now, but the weird ideas are usually the ones that are turned into the future, right?
Yeah, that's I think that's kind of one of the thing that's hard for people about food stamps is where the money gets spent. It's like they want it to be spent just on nourishment and making sure these people are getting healthy food, you know?
And then even look at this from like a philosophical perspective. Like basically food represents energy, right? So how radical is that? Like it's a source of energy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's the ability for those humans to go out and do something with their lives and add some sort of value somewhere along the way, you know, in their little part. So, yeah, giving them that fuel is a.
So you know, I mean, this is a pretty deep conversation, and I don't know all the answers, but I know there's a lot of areas like labor, like food, like money, that all intersect together in some way. And we're trying to really push the boundaries of how those things intersect with each other right now.
Yeah. And it's kind of natural. What people want is like an answer, like, okay, how are you going to do this and how's it going to end up? And, you know, but that's not really the case with pushing fringe technologies. I mean, blockchain's such a good example. Like a few years ago, people didn't know where it was going or how it was going to end up, or didn't see the ICOs coming, or didn't see the ICOs disappearing, or didn't see, you know, security token. Like the amount of angles and the amount of you know, inputs it makes it completely unpredictable. All you can do is what you guys are doing, kind of on the base level, is start chipping away at these problems and trying different things.
All you can do is build.
Yeah, all you can do is build. So yeah, I mean, you're kind of attacking a giant problem, but you're starting. It sounds like what you guys are doing is starting at the base level and continuing to build, and continuing to push it down the road. You know, so that's cool. So you leave for Africa tomorrow?
Yeah. So
that's great.
You know, I think it's just such a big, it's a mission. You know, this is like, I was looking at some historical footage. Like, I think like Muhammad Ali went to Africa. Like Kennedy went to Africa. You know, like Fidel Castro, he went to fucking Africa. You know, like this is pretty radical, man. Like we're getting on a plane tomorrow and we're going to fucking Africa.
Yeah, that is freaking wild, man. I know.
I was trying to think about this, you know, just today. I'm like, wow, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to Africa. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Especially since your team was in San Francisco, like opposite sides of the world. I mean, not quite opposite sides of the world, but I mean, that's pretty far. That's like you're globetrotting, pushing this idea forward. It's pretty.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to all the people at the Hackathon that made it possible, all the team members. You know, it wouldn't have been possible without the mentors. Shout out to all the people from LA. Everpedia people were there. All the EOS people were there. All the Friends people were there. And so a big shout out to all the LA companies representing and the Hackathon. Yeah.
Yeah. And who's on your team? So yeah.
Yeah. So we have a handful of developers. But the people that were officially on the team were Eli, Candida, and Kai. Right. Those are the three. They're all going to Africa right now. And then in the developers, we have Amir, we have Solomon, we have Lewis, we have Andy, we have Angel, and we also have Giancarlo. And these are developers from Puerto Rico and some developers from LA also.
You found quite a bit of developers in Puerto Rico and got them on a team. Is there like kind of a little bit of a tech scene starting up down there, or how'd that go?
Yeah, so you know, we I got to Puerto Rico, and one of the first things we did was like, let's just go to the university. Let's talk to kids. Let's see what's going on. and there's a bunch of blockchain groups like at universities, and I just jumped in there, and we just got all the cool people, we got all the cool kids, and we got them working on this project. So, and it was something that like they really identified with, because you know their mothers were on food stamps, and you know actually Puerto Rico is one of the biggest recipients of food stamps in the U.S. So they understand these problems, and then they also understand how technology can help solve these problems. And a funny side story. So any developer that joins the team, or any marketing person, or anybody, like usually your first day at a startup, you know, you're going to do, I don't know, orientation or something dumb, right? For our company, day one, the first task is you got to go to the Department of Social Services, wait in line, and fill out all the paperwork to like apply for fucking food stamps.
Yeah.
It's an eye opener for people, because you know they just can't believe that this system is so archaic, and and the way that you get treated over there, it's so horrible. So it's a real eye opener for all the developers.
Yeah, for sure. Are you familiar with have you heard of Code for America?
Yes.
Yeah, Code for America is out of San Francisco, I think, but they do a lot of work with the government. Basically, they do little mini hackathons where they go in and fix like just fucked up government stuff, like the DMV like website and things like that. Food stamps is one that I heard them talk about, because it's such a convoluted process, as far as even once you get all that front end paperwork and things done like that, they expire every certain amount of months. You have to like renew and like tell them where you're living and your job and things like that. But again, it's a convoluted process, and people get their food stamps cut off kind of often because they don't have time to take care of it. And there's not some sort of streamlined website to do it. So yeah.
I mean, like, there's a lot of problems out there, and there's a lot of problems with food stamps. So we're not trying to solve them all. The only thing that we're trying to solve at this like really specific point is figuring out how do we help the user start doing transactions, digitally, right? Yeah. So that's our kind of launching point. And yeah, we could talk about days about what we think is wrong with the system or not. All we need to know is that it's a system. It's a system out there, and whether it's an educational system, whether it's a political system, whether it's a jail system, like these are all systems that, like, growing up in LA or Puerto Rico, you become very acquainted with, like, really early, like, oh yeah, that's a system over there, I better watch out. Yeah. And I think for me personally, the ability to like say, hey, yeah, this is the system, but this is what we're going to do to like either overcome that or make it better.
Yeah, or go around it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, without being like so blunt, like, yeah, like how do you like basically, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as far as people who are watching this go, what kind of takeaways do you want them to have? And then what should they be looking for from your team? Where can they find you online?
Yeah, I just want to, create awareness around technology and some of the local problems. So food stamps is just one of the issues, and access to healthy food is an important thing for everybody. So I think even though it doesn't affect us like on a daily basis, it affects the people that we see on the street. It affects immigrants. It affects like huge portion of this population. And I just want to, whatever we build, we have to go in there with the mindset of like, yeah, like what's this real problem we're trying to solve, and how can we use technology to benefit, humanity in general. That's like my kind of like big vision here. But in terms of the company, you can find us at www.allebt.com. That's www.allebt.com. And then my email address is Eli, EOI, at allebt.com. And all the information's on there. We're doing a lot of interesting stuff from a user side, and then also from a fundraising side. So we just launched a WeFunder campaign, and we're also closing around before during the holiday period right now. So if people are interested in supporting the project, we can definitely do that. And then again, just a big shout out. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the team, if it wasn't for all the mentors, for all the smart people that are around me, whether it's the people in LA, like the Everpedia guys, the Sense team, and then all the engineers that are on board. They're the ones that are building this product, and they're here for the mission. They're not here because like we're paying them like big Silicon Valley salaries. They're here because they see the potential in this.
Cool, man. And you mentioned a WeFund campaign. So is that your avenue for raising basically money to pay the team to work on this? Is through WeFund? Is that how that's working?
That's the initial launch into, I guess, the investors community. So we got a lot of interest from angel investors, some institutional investors. So instead of going one by one to all the different angels, we're launching the WeFunder campaign, kind of like how Everpedia did the same thing a couple years ago. And then also we're going to the final in South Africa, and there's there's a lot of money on the table there, and I'm sure that we're gonna find a solution to get this project going forward at light speed.
Cool, man. I'm not familiar with WeFunder. What is it? Is it like a GoFundMe? Is it like a Kickstarter type of thing?
Crowdfunding platform. It's a Y Combinator company. So if the people start doing a little bit more research, we also won another hackathon. So we were at the Y Combinator hackathon, and we won that hackathon with the initial project, which was basically just the food stamps to the virtual card. And so we got introduced to WeFunder through the Y Combinator people, and then we're getting that campaign up right now. It'll be on the website. People can check it out there. They can invest anywhere from $20, $100 to whatever they like investing. But yeah, that's WeFunder.
Cool. And Y Combinator is a huge accelerator, hugely popular accelerator in the Silicon Valley. So, you guys won a Y Combinator hackathon. You were one of the winners at the EOS San Francisco hackathon. You're going to Africa. So yeah, big things, man. This is cool. Very cool. Any parting thoughts for our EOS podcast friends out there?
I think just be kind to each other and treat other people, happy. Treat other people like better than you would treat yourself. I think I fall short of that sometimes too, and I think if we can just stay positive, be honest with each other, and we can do a lot of great things in life.
Yep. Beautiful ending note. We're in a wonderful time and place in history, my EOS friends, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to catching up with you. I'll be following the All EBT project. So cheers, my EOS friends.
Right on, man. Take care.
The money is not the prime asset in life. Time is, and your time is just